Today I'm going to talk about the ending of We by Zamyatin. And first of all, in memory or in honor of We, I've got my alcohol. That's all we'll do today. We won't smoke. But what I thought about the ending of We was it was what I expected because of all the spoilers. But what I didn't like about it was what I didn't expect actually was when D503 he realized that what he believed was wrong when his neighbor told him that there was actually a finite number. So I wasn't too happy that he carried on with he stayed with his current settings or whatever, and stayed, with the one state whenever although at the time I don't know if he might not have even had a chance to been able to escape once he realized the truth, because the next morning he went for the great operation. So probably he didn't even have enough time to want to escape had he wanted to, but he had already made up his mind that he was going to get the operation and stay a cipher, which I believe is probably also why he he went ahead and stayed a cipher after knowing the truth anyways, because he was basically already going to. Now, one thing that surprised me about the ending was when he was called to the benefactor. When he actually went to the benefactor kind of took God's side, whereas in the beginning of the book I seem to get the impression that D503 thought that we were all like crazy for believing in God, that we the ancients were crazy for believing in God and following religion and all that. So when that was another thing, kind of like when he found out that there was a finite number. He also knew that what he thought we were crazy for, the benefactor or his God believed that God was right for letting humans worship him, and that he was right in he should be a loving God, but he still would have someone kill his own son, but still expect people to love him. And I believe that in the beginning 503 thought that we were crazy for thinking that that's a loving God, but the benefactor actually was like, yes, that is a loving God, and here's why. Because I don't remember exactly what he said, his reasons, but he basically backed God, took God's back, and that, and humans, actually the ancients, in not thinking that we're crazy for believing in a God that does sometimes have to kill people, or send plagues or whatever. And so that really surprised me, kind of threw me through a loop also. But overall, I knew how the story was going to end from the spoilers, and from just from talking to people about the book. However, I read it till the very last page, and now at the end, after his operation, I didn't really know in the beginning if he was going to be forgetful, if he was going to forget his past, but he didn't. So he remembered I-330, although he didn't seem to really remember the emotion that he shared with her, because prior, he hated her, he didn't like her. Well, then he couldn't live without her. So, and then in the end, and before the great operation, I guess he did kind of revert back to hating her, because he realized that she kind of screwed him over, saying that he was using him because he was the builder of the integral. So all in all, I enjoyed the book. Great book. Surprised that the book was written in the 1920s, considering we really didn't even have airplanes back then. Let alone, I don't even know if they were called airplanes, let alone arrows. So I thought, there was a lot of good foreseeing in this book, and I would recommend it. I would read it again just to understand it better. Although I probably won't anytime soon because I'm just not much of a reader. But here's We. Good book. Good story.